Organized for y'all. Today we're going to be doing we're going to be going over the Purely Pigment Metallics. Hi, whoever just came in. Uh, please say hello when you get a chance to say hi. So the Purely Pigments, so far what we've done with them is we have played with the concentrated colors that could increase the saturation of our paint, put the colors back in when they, sorry, we had a major screw up here. Jasmine, get off. And I'm back, everybody. Yes, I am back. So this is our Saturday morning live. We're, sorry guys. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you, Alvina. Oh, thank you. I just washed my hair and put on my brows, Kathleen. So, and we've already had a mishap where Jasmine actually knocked the varnish off the table, which we don't want her to do. So today's going to be the reveal of the Purely Pigment Metallics. I apologize, I had to reschedule my stream for today. As you heard on, I think Monday, we did an emergency rush order for the bottles, the new glass bottles, so we could keep filling orders because our proof of concept run was so successful, we ran out. Yay! But then, so I thought, well, you know, I was getting so close to the time of the live, why not wait for the bottles to show up yesterday, because I didn't have any more bottles printed with the labels on them. Hi, Judy! Hello, Miss Fairy Art Mother. And as luck would have it, and I completely understand, UPS decided that, being Christmas, that Christmas packages to individuals were more important than a box coming to the business. So we're not going to get the jars till Wednesday. So the reveal today will be in just the frosted bottles. Hi, Hope. Okay. You'll be able to at least to see the frosted bottles. We'll play with them on texture. They are the sister to the Purely Pigments concentrated colors that we've been using in resin. We've been using in our acrylic. Hey, Lisa. Hi, everybody. So first, and here we have Jasmine, who's decided to be the star of the show. I just hope she stays back there the entire time, like she has been the rest of the time. This morning, we already had her knock the varnish off the table just when I was getting ready to hit live. Morning, John. How are you doing? So, okay, so let's flip this camera a little bit. I want you guys to get a look at what we've done so far with the metallics, how we've played with them. Hey, everybody. Hi. Yes, Jasmine's back there scratching herself. Okay, let's see if last time I turned this, I ended up disconnecting the live. Let's not do that again, okay? Okay, so here we go. Now, what I've got on my table here, I'm going to kind of go through some stuff that we've done. This was from, you see the color up on here. This was from Tuesday's live when we played with the Egyptian Violet Prism Pour and did a swipe. And just before we swiped it, we added some of the Cerulean. This is going to be called Cerulean Sea. I can't get away from the word cerulean. Yeah. Look at this. Okay, I have one thing I got to do. I just rushed my table and turned this on. I've got to get my gloves on. You know, and I don't mean to be the glove police, but while I'm putting my gloves on, one thing I've noticed, a lot of people, when they're working with acrylic, they don't need to protect their hands. And I'm not so much worried about the color, there she is, as the acrylic base that it's in. Because anything that goes on your skin goes directly into your bloodstream. So fun fact, it's not just resin we need to protect ourselves from when we're wearing gloves. You should try to wear them when you're working with any kind of paint, because you don't know what that suppliers put in their base. And I mean, they're not intentionally trying to, you know, expose you to anything toxic. No one would, but it's just a fact of life that I see so many people not wearing gloves when they're painting with acrylic, and they're, you know, they remember the old days when we played with tempera paint as kids, right? And that was fine, but tempera paint is like food grade. There's no real acrylic in it, right? So yeah, I like to cover up everything. That's why I keep wearing them. You need these gloves. They actually are a long midnight nitrile glove. They're actually a little bit longer, right? And then this one, I lost my other mitt. I think Jasmine stole my left mitt. I have this, it's a mitt that has a hole in it, right, that fits over your glove, goes up and completely covers your arm, especially if you're gonna use with acrylic. Sherry, I got your message, girlfriend. I've been too busy getting ready for this live. I'll be calling you back this afternoon, I promise, because I know you need help with that order, honey. I don't know why the website's giving us such a hard time. So then I got my gloves back on. You're not that late, Catherine. I'm wasting a few people's times just chatting it up here. So let's switch this camera again. By the way, happy holidays, everybody. I'm so glad to be here this Saturday before Christmas and saying hello to everybody. Okay, so back to what we're doing here. God, sorry for the pause. I thought it disconnected. Oh. Okay, so back to what I was trying to show you when I noticed that I didn't have my gloves on. As you see me tilting this, you can see what the cerulean blue did and how it mixed with this prism pour. Now I did resin this. This is a resin top coat. But what I thought was so interesting is I didn't lose any of my lacing when I put some of that metallic right there before I did the swipe, okay? Another way that we've been playing with it, and I know this is a really funky example, John, don't laugh, but the polyfiber paper, I ended up using more of the metallics on, and I threw it under resin. Now, tip on the polyfiber paper, everybody, is yes, you put it face down when you're heating it, because then you've got to look at last Saturday's live if you didn't see it. So you put it heat down, I mean color down, and it runs away from the heat. But when you're getting ready to mount it, I completely forgot the rule. See that little pocket there? What you do is you heat it from the top down just for a few seconds to flatten it. Then you can mount it. But it sure looks pretty beautiful under that resin. And you can see, yeah, that's cerulean blue in those beds. Okay, so we did a little, this was one of my little bookmark thingies, just to see what it looked like when we put the, I think what color we put the azure blue in this there. I forgot. Oh, wait a minute. No, this was resin art with a little bit of the Purely Pigments added to it. But there's still some interesting translucency. And of course, the back of it, I put a little, I put some interference violet on the back of the mold and when I poured it. But what's interesting is it's permanent. It's permanently on there. That's the cool thing about resin. Now, where I've had the most fun was the texture paste. I know I keep showing this piece off. But the good news is, exactly when I did this, but I went through this exercise a long time ago of taking these boards and testing different things. Like this one says gel medium and stucco, right? I have one that's stucco and crackle paste. And so what I think I'm going to do, because we know how beautiful this stuff looks on top of texture, I'm just going to brush some of these on here. Yay, I'm so excited. Yay. Okay, I'm going to put some of that on here after I run through the colors, but you know how gorgeous this is going to be under resin. So color so far, this is that burnt orange. We're going to call that one Cerulean Sea. The red I deepened. I took the red to a completely different few shades darker, and we're going to call this one burgundy. Yeah, I know, there's still a label on my bottle. I'm so sorry, guys. But this is the burgundy, okay? So I took it a shade like, I mean, that's the license of testing this stuff and play with it in advance. I get a chance to fix the colors as I'm going. So let's run through these, okay? We have a color called Lavendar Rose. This is your diazazine violet in a, boy, you can tell it's, I just got these made last night, in a blue violet base, okay? I think this one's kind of turned up, kind of funky. It's not real flat. Let's go with a flat one. I'm going to put these in a little bit of varnish. Now they're packed full of color and shimmer. Same thing as the Prism Pour, okay? There's a teaspoon per ounce on the Prism Pour. There's 3 in these. It's like getting an entire jar of primary elements in a bottle as far as all the impact of the mica, but using artist grade colors that are archival. And hopefully if we can visit just long enough, I really want to mix up some resin and see what happens if I just drop this in the resin and see what kind of reaction we get. But, you know, chemical reaction we get. I kind of think maybe we could do a Bruce Riley. And if you don't know who that is, Bruce Riley is this incredible resin artist. And what Riley does is he sandwiches his color in between the resin layers, right? Thank you, guys. I don't know why we lost a few people. Maybe it's Saturday morning or somebody else's live is starting and I got benched. Thank you, honey. So I just put a couple drops of Joe Sonia varnish in here. I don't know if it's enough, to be honest. I want to paint my whole square. Let's put a little more varnish in here. Varnish will be the closest thing compatible to this. Not that you can't put it in acrylic, but this is like a varnish. Oops, let's get this back on camera. You guys can see what I'm doing here. It's easy, but we're here. Thank you, guys. Yeah, we're going through some equipment challenges. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to schedule the lives. You'll be able to sign up for the notifications, right? And then we'll be able to go on live. And I'd love to do co-hosts. I'd love to do a podcast. Okay. So you can't quite see the sparkle in that yet until it dries. But this has got a ton of, see that blue violet in there? It's got a ton of that blue violet in there. I'm thinking if I can get something to, maybe one of my little pieces of cardstock I'll also show you guys. Here we go. Now this is thinned down with the varnish. This is the Lavendar Rose. And it's packed full of that diazazine violet that we're so familiar with. Right, and look, if you can see the blue sparkle in there, oh, it's starting to curl back. Now this down here will eventually dry like these, doesn't take that long. So I thought I could apply it while we're sitting here visiting. So the sets are up there for sale. There's an introductory offer of $119, but because it's a pre-order event, oh yeah, you can. I'm sure you could if you want to put it in a gel medium base. But remember, gel medium's going to dry with more layers to it, and so it depends on the opacity. But yeah, if you want to go on top of gel medium, right? I don't know if that's exactly what you're asking. Sorry, I needed to get my water jar up here just to wash off my brush. Okay, so Frat was the first color, Lavendar Rose. Let's play with a Chartreuse. This is an in-your-face limey green. Lime green, but it is in a green gold base. People really seemed to enjoy when I was experimenting on the live, adding the gold to the green. It kind of took it to almost olivey color. So this is the Chartreuse. You can see my beautiful handwriting. And I apologize that we do not have the actual bottles because we sold out so quickly. That's not a bad thing to have happen. We'll put a few drops of varnish in here. That just happens to be what I have around here, John. You see, it's very much a green gold. Oh, you see that pink at the end of the line? That was a mistake this morning. That was not a mistake, but was something that just happened and I had to bottle it. And I'll show you in a minute when I get to the end of that line. I'm considering bringing it in, maybe later, but I figured I had to at least show it to you, right? Thank you, Penny. Really want, and if I felt it wasn't rich enough, guess what? What could I do? I could take a drop of that. Of course, this is a lot of color to do a whole drop of this. But remember, you have the purely pigments too, the single drop. Bam. Come on, that one drop. Thank you, ma'am. Well, that's kind of the idea, John, is to make sure they're all sort of related. See how that turned it just a little bit greener for me? So you can go the green gold, but you could also add a drop of the purely pigments and brighten this up like I am, right? We have options when we can do color mixing. Oh, and let's not forget to put it on the paper. Let's see what it looks like on this paper that we're painting out. Thanks, John. Now, I see bits of actual green and gold in the sparkle there as it's starting to dry. And that just makes it super, super interesting. So we also marked down the purely pigment set, this the first one that we launched. So to make it easy for people, instead of 160, it's marked down to 140. These are 119, but one thing we're doing is we're adding a special gift because, let me turn my camera 1 second. This is called a pre-order event. And when it's a pre-order event, it means we have all the supplies to make it, but now we need the time to mix it. And we're asking you to pre-order while we're mixing them. Now, next week's a short week, right? We're back on Wednesday and gone again. So it will be almost to 2 full weeks before they leave. So what we're doing is we're putting in a beautiful 3 jars of different micas for you, basically a $25 to $27 value as a gift to thank you for being part of the pre-order event. I mean, that's just, and you need to see my face when I talk about pre-orders. Let's get back to what we're doing here. All right, so the next color is Lagoon. I think I called it Lagoon something, but Lagoon is part of the name. Yeah, I was driving and glanced over. Do you have that green? I want it. He wants this green? Well, there you go, hubby. I love that the hubby did that for you, honey. Okay, so the turquoise, I'm trying to think of putting these in order of where they kind of pop. Even though I want to show the Lagoon, I think I'm going to play with what is turned into burgundy. Now, the red you guys saw me use over the last couple weeks when I was toying around with this is much darker. I toned this down, and if you had to ask me, look at the color on that eyedropper. Look at that burgundy red. Wow. Wow, wow. These are prettier than the samples you guys got. I apologize. Now, I'm going to put it on straight like I did on my other piece, that one that's already bone dry. And I just want to see what happens with how far can I get this to go if I paint this straight. There's only a couple drops. It's going pretty good coverage. but you can see how much more mica is in there when it's not thinned down, right? I mean, it's packed. Like I said, this jar, it's almost like I put an entire jar of permanent elements in the bottle. Me either, Kathleen. Yeah, now remember, because UPS didn't deliver the bottles, this doesn't even start production until Wednesday now. We can't do anything till Wednesday. And I do appreciate the United States Post Office. You're welcome, Audra. You know, if you look at the top of our header now, we have a schedule: Tuesday, Thursday, 11 a.m., Saturday mornings at 9. Hopefully just before AB Creative, because she usually comes on about 10 o'clock. If you've not seen her channel, she's worth a visit if you don't know who she is. She's amazing. Yeah, I'm really loving that burgundy. And see what I did with it? Completely different from that original red. You see that red there that's right above this blue? See this red? This was the original red. It's been toned down to that burgundy. I just really wanted it super rich, but it's got that red metallic mica in it, which is so stunning. Okay, so let's see what we can put down next. Well, the Cerulean seems to be everybody's popular favorite. It really is it's this color you've been seeing me play with all this time, and I played it straight. I didn't change it. It's so stinking beautiful. I'm leaving it the way it is, but it deserves its little day in the sunshine here. Yeah, she's amazing, okay? If I ever have a chance to be up on Thursday mornings, Saturday mornings, I'm there. I want to watch her, and she's inspiring. She makes me want to do videos again. So there's that. Yeah, I'm trying not to. I don't like wasting anything. So putting the cup and putting the varnish in. And yet, let's get real because of, people wanting things to go further. I could take a little plain varnish and get that to move for me, right? And brush it in there. Again, I happen to like how this stuff dries on top of that crackle texture paste. Yeah, we do. I've gone in there a few times and told her how amazing she is, but she has so many people when she's there on that live, You hope that she notices you. I'm such a fangirl. Sorry. I'm a fangirl when it comes to that stuff. Okay, so we've got Lavendar Rose, Chartreuse, Burgundy, and then this is the Cerulean. Okay, so I know that my girl Pamela is into the pinks. I just have to show you what happened when I was making these. So this is supposed to be Sunkist Pink, but I made two versions. And remember, we talked about how mica bends the light waves and completely changes it. Exact same amount of this beautiful pinky coral in there, but one has the interference gold and one has interference violet. And I know you're going to swear to me they're two different colors. You can see that they're sort of similar side by side, right? But when I put the gold in, I said, oh my God, this almost looks like a rose gold. Look at that color. I think this needs to be a future color or a bonus color because it wasn't exactly what I was aiming for, but dang, look at that. Look at that beautiful corally, goldy pink, right? Now, this is the one that's actually made for the line. This is more on the pink end of it. And just by using a different mica base, same amount of color in the jars. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, this is, when you told me that you didn't understand how much the mica would change everything, I realized that's something I had to show. Look at the difference. Can you see the difference? This is a pinky color. Look at that. Completely different. And I think this is 1, 2, 3. This only has 10 spots. So if I did both of these, I would run out of room to do my colors. But just by adding the violet, it turns it into a pink. Adding the gold turns it into a rose gold. Okay. So I am going to put the pink on here. I think I'm going to put it right. Hey, Dee. Yeah, they're up there for sale now. Special deal. I even marked down the original if you guys hadn't gotten them, so you guys could get a package deal this weekend. The code is Celebrate23 because it's 2023. All lowercase, one word. You save 23% off your order. That's Celebrate23. Well, let's put the pink across from the Chartreuse because they're going to complement one another. Okay. And just had to show off this kind of salmon-y rose gold color. Like I said, don't you agree that'd make a really pretty bonus? Or, I don't know. I could really go hardcore and actually try to make a rose gold. But, yeah, you notice I'm just going right in there and dropping it in now. I'm not wasting any time pre-mixing in the varnish. Oh my God, look what it's doing. I love when it goes into the veins. Let it go into the veins first. Yeah, I made up these boards months ago, not knowing what I was going to do. It was an experiment if I put texture paste down and crackle on top, plaster of Paris down, gel medium on top. I did all these different combinations, and this morning I found these boards, and I said, these are kind of perfect. So this is the Sunkist Pink. And you say, yes, you do eventually want to get your hands on the more goldy one. This is so pretty. Just love this color. Sunkist Pink. Okay, trying to make my way down the line here and keep my lids on or I'll get into trouble. Don't want to make a mess. So I don't know how many of you guys know your color wheel, but the exact opposite on the color wheel from purple is, does anybody know? Let's see if anybody says something. What is the complement to a purple? Nobody? Nobody? It does complement, Michelle. There you go, Jennifer. The actual on the color wheel, it is yellow. And while orange is gorgeous, orange's direct complement would be blue, right? So the direct complement to violet on the color wheel is yellow. So the closest thing that we can get to this is the red gold. I think we called it rich red gold. I'm in love with this color. You saw it as this here. It also ran into the blue and created this tertiary, really crazy gold green. Yes, you are right. Yellow is the opposite of violet on the color wheel. Good, everybody. We're all learning. And orange is the opposite of blue. That's why when you go and you look at all those late night TV shows, it's real interesting how many of them use variations of blues and then oranges in mahogany type woods. It's probably one of the most pleasing color complements there are out there. It's the most pleasing to the eye. And so they use it on a lot of sets. The orange and the blue. So this is that red gold. Kind of like using them straight. Oops, I got a little bit of red gold in my pink, but that's okay. It kind of toned it over and turned it a little bit a different color. That's okay. It's my color. So this is that red gold. Let's see, what are we missing out on? Lagoon, because I skipped that one. Ruby slippers. I know, another red, Leslie. Well, I kind of went on a red binge. It's Christmas, I guess, this time of year. This one is Ruby Slippers. It was a little bit of a challenge to make. Let's see, what am I going to put next to this? Elderberry. Now, technically, this is a blue violet. You love the reds? Yeah, I don't normally make a lot of reds. They're not my favorite thing, and yet I know the world loves reds. Dorothy and your ruby slippers, right? So this is technically a blue, but it looks more like a Prussian violet. I was trying to make kind of the aubergine. I was trying to make the aubergine, but you can see that tip on there and what that's doing. I'm just trying to be smart and make sure that what I put next to one another at least pops a little bit. There's a little bit of compliment to what we're doing. Actually, John, they will not. We've already switched to the plastic droppers. And those of you that don't know, we now have 5 reported droppers that have cracked. What if we'll bring it up here? All in the same spot. There seems to be a fracture point in the glass. As soon as we found out, the manufacturer actually sent us a replacement droppers in plastic. Sadly, some of them have a safety seal. We're stuck with whatever they got because their next shipment's coming in a couple of weeks. But yeah, we switched to plastic droppers, John. Yeah, that really looks like a Prussian violet, that it's a blue violet. It's called elderberry. They're starting to sparkle now. You see, they're starting to dry. The sparkle's picking up here. I will see if I can stay on. Okay. Yeah, as soon as we heard about the droppers, we had to switch. It was no brainer on that one. This is the burnt orange. And I think it'll look pretty nice next to this cerulean blue because we know blue and orange pop, right? I think on Tuesday, because I really want to see how it reacts in resin, but Tuesdays are resin day, Thursdays acrylic, 11 a.m. We're going to be doing 2 lives a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, acrylic and resin on each day, and experiment with color mixing. And as we get the equipment better and better, yes, I swear I'll actually going to paint something for you guys, not just do these testers. But I think for the color mixing, and since there's really nobody that I've seen out here kind of doing this type of color mixing, it's kind of important that you guys see how it all works. Yeah, boy, look at the orange here. This is what it looks like dry. I'm in love with this burnt orange color right here. It's magnificent, just magnificent. There's a metallic mica in it that the automotive people use for making orange cars, and so part of that's that mix. That's that ember fire orange that we use in there. Okay, so what are we missing? We have ruby slippers, I guess is left, and elderberry cerulean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the elderberry, the burnt orange, the red gold, the cerulean, ruby slippers here, Sunkist, burgundy. Oh, the lagoon! Yes! Finally, we get to play with the turquoise. The lagoon. Sorry, I'm being silly here. It's my live. I get to be silly. Well, thanks, Sandy. You know what? When we would go to shows, I'd ask the room, so is everybody comfortable with the color wheel? And there would be these faces of horror, like somehow everybody thought they were supposed to learn it in elementary school. And if you didn't know, there was something wrong with you. Then there's about 4 or 5 people, arms crossed, looking very authoritative, you know. Oh, of course I know my color wheel, right? And then groups of people would come up. This is that lagoon. I am really enjoying this turquoise. Groups of people would come up, you know, a few at a time and say, can you explain it to me? Because they didn't want to go on record as saying they didn't know. And unless somehow you happen to go to an art class that the teacher made sense, okay, and don't get me wrong, I love teachers, okay? I love teachers, but I gotta say this on camera. But when I heard the teacher say value and hue, I thought I was in a Peanuts cartoon and hearing Lucy go, wah, 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 wah. As soon as you say value and hue, I turn it all off. I phase it out, right? So don't feel bad, Sandy. It's a learned thing. You actually have to practice it. Go look at the color wheel and see what the opposites are and see what complements and what blends into one another. It's not as hard as you think, but it's just like anything else we have to go learn to do, right? So let's get back to our last color because we got these ruby slippers to put down here. Now, I got all my bottles mixed up here. Sorry about that as I keep pulling them off, making sure, pulling off the ones that I've actually done. I think the ruby slippers is here. Now, it may not be red enough for me. These are just being sent to the lab, so I still have the option to deepen this if I want to. But I went real deep on that burgundy, right? So when I put this red out, there would be a lot of contrast between the two. So let's see how this looks. It's still, you know, not yellow brick road red. Follow the yellow brick road. Get this blue off my brush. I mean, it's pretty. It's a little bit pink. And I did do it in the pink family, right? But I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to add just a little bit more red to the final recipe because I have the ability to do this. Remember, they don't start filling them till Wednesday. So I think I'm just going to deepen this red about one more shade, but I do like where it's going, and it may not look like Dorothy's ruby slippers, but it's a nice red with tons of violet and red sparkle in it. You're right, Pam. If I hit it with some of the red that's in the Venetian, we'll be good. And I will, because again, I have the ability to update those recipes. As a matter of fact, if Fairy Art Mother's watching, she's very aware of how some of the processes work, and it's like the final hour, I'm still working on something because if it doesn't look perfect, you know, if it isn't something you absolutely love, then, you know, why put it out? So I keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking, even tweaking the names. So this is going to take a little bit to dry. I know everybody's busy because it's Christmas, and I don't want to tie you up too much. Hey, Megan, sorry I couldn't get back to you, honey. There was so much going on when you kept asking me, but I did do that video yesterday. Okay, and I know, Pam, you're dying to find out what this pink is. So we'll take, I mean, I can do it on cardstock. I didn't want to use this because it was curved, and yet stucco with crackle paste. Here's one, gel medium and crackle paste, and it's laying flat. Told you I made a whole bunch of these up because I wanted to test our paints on them. So this is, I know, I was making, I think, the Sunkist and a little bit of color ended up back on my, yeah, I saw your order go through. What's the color I just had in my hand? This or this? The ruby slippers. I'll wait. I've got to sit and watch the screen. Remember, I can't see you guys. It looks, but this is really going to look more interference than anything. You see, it's a load of interference with just a hint of color. And I don't know the viability of that, even though I think these would be amazing. Once we really get blowing and going and we figure out every technique that can be done with this stuff, this will be a great thing to have. Because look at that. That's amazing. It's mostly interference, of course. I think I see some of the opal color in there. I see some shimmer in there. But I'd want to be taking, it's pretty, but what if I took a drop of this coral color that had the gold in it? You too, Penny. You guys have a good one. Yeah, I'm going to be wrapping this up in just a minute. I want to come on live, announce the colors, let everybody see the bottles, but I realize it is Christmas. But see, if I want to just take a tiny bit of that coral in there, look what happened when I added that goldy coral. Oh, black. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I made a bunch of those on black. Give me a second, you guys. I don't know if I can find them. If I can find it really fast. I did some black texture paste. Now that you bring that up, and yep, here it is. Boy, I'm good at finding stuff, huh? That's an interesting idea. I don't know about the black, but we're gonna find out here. No, it's not that big. This looks like a combination of a black texture and like a black gel, because they're different on each side. See the different texture on each side? But I'm super curious. Yeah, okay, everybody's waiting to see what happens. This is what lives are all about, right? This is the whole idea of the live. Okay, do I do the orange? First thing I picked up was to see what this orange would do. I'm liking the more textural side, of that, because it seems like it will absorb. Texture feels like it's going to absorb the paint better. Now I just used it straight. There's no water in there. I can't really tilt that up. Agreed. You know, these all have some interference. So Janelle, you're right. This one right here that I was fooling around with, of course, is going to be beautiful on there. But we want to keep some separation to make it interesting, right? I am dying to try one of the blues. I don't know how that turquoise. I know I'll probably have better luck with turquoise running into pink, but you're walking your dog? Hi. Oh, look at the lagoon on there. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Look at that. I don't want to pull it up because it's really runny, but can you see that color, what's happening here? And the sparkle on that black? Holy my goalie, my goalie, my goalie, my goalie. Look at that. Wow. Okay. This is nuts, you guys. Yeah, I know. This lagoon is absolutely stunning. I don't know. The diazocine, I think, would be too dark. The gold might look nice, but what the heck? What? Oh, okay. Let's go all the way in. What happens if I put the... But I didn't think this chartreuse was bright enough, right? It felt like it needed more color. And so I'm thinking, what can I put in here to kind of transition those two, huh? What do you guys think? Try the diazazine? I don't know, purple and black? Here, I'll put a drop of it on here and show you. Yeah, that rose gold would be really pretty. Let's try a little diazazine actually in the lagoon, right? Because they can run together beautifully. You got a point, guys. Oh, look at that. Look at what that's doing. I'm kind of liking what that diaz is, how that's mixing with that lagoon. I put entirely too much of this stuff over here is why I'm trying to be really careful with it. But a shock of all shock, that diazazine's actually holding up. Wow. I don't think the burgundy will, but hey, I keep saying I don't think anything will, and it does. So let's just keep going here because we know how hard it is to have stuff show up on black. It just is. Well, that's even more interesting. Look at what happened with the burgundy on that black. Thank you. Yeah, these actually have really decent color saturation. I am pleasantly surprised to see how much this is holding up on that black. Wow. Well, we can keep going here. What colors? I didn't play with the elderberry yet. We didn't do this cerulean blue. We did the diazazine, and we didn't do this. So let's, now this is a harder surface. This is not going to be absorbent. See how this is real shiny and hard? It's like a hard paste. This was more texture. So it'll be interesting to see how the cerulean holds up on this. I'm so glad somebody brought up using the black. Woohoo! Look at that! Holy moly! Yeah. There's good coverage with these, can I just say? No problem there. Let's get that chartreuse. What does it look like up on that black? I know a lot of people have trouble with yellows and lime greens on black to get them to hold up, right? Okay, interesting. What color have I not used? Well, you know what? I took that interference here, but I didn't actually put in the Sunkist Pink. Wow! Oh, wow! Okay. I don't think we got a problem with some color saturation with this stuff. I am so in love with these color. Now, I know that that's thick, and we're going to spread it out. But it looks like we're getting really decent coverage with these. My enthusiasm? We're just having fun playing with color. That's all we're doing. I am loving what this is happening here. That is one thing that's really beautiful when these are going to lend themselves to texture projects because the irregular surface of the texture is really picking up that cerulean blue. And there's parts of it already dry. That's already dry. That's how quick drying this stuff is. And once it's set, it's set. It's not going anywhere. So that's that base. It's a specialty varnish blend that's fast setting. Now, if you put it on top of other paint, it's going to have to dry along with what else you use them with. But alone, I know that after about 2 to 3 hours, I was able to take a wet paper towel to this whole thing as I started dropping color on, and nothing was lifting after a few hours. But remember, this is a hard surface, crack opaque, no other paint beneath it. Where of course here, it's gonna have to dry in the same time that the Prism Pour takes to dry. But can I just say, I gotta do a big swipe with these colors. I promise you guys, as we get more and more into lives, I'll figure out the camera so I can actually paint something on camera. But I think the color mixing and understanding how the colors work is so important for people. And especially with all the different materials that we sell. I mean, we've been selling, it's hard to believe. I take sole responsibility for this. 27 years we've been selling these paints, and yeah, somebody needs to come over here and play with them, play with me. But I just did not realize what got lost in the messaging. And Judy, my friend, kept pushing, talk about the interference, teach them about the interference. And she was in love with the interference, still is, I'm sure. But really valuable. It was actually Pam Coffey that day that said, I didn't get it. I did not get that I can make custom colors using all those blinglets, all those interferences. And even, like I said, we have a small sampling of color-coded micas with all the beautiful color-coded micas on the market. We don't need to go down that path and carry anyone. Should start the beginning and understand you're right, Catherine. I've been doing this week 2. And if you go back to the very first week and progressively watch the lives, I promise I try really hard not to bore you. There's a lot of information in there to teach you how this all works, how the bling and all those interferences and minerals bend the light waves and change the way you see your colors, how the metallic coated, the cold copper and bronze change things, how even the color coded micas change things. When I mixed everything in the Artist Violets Are Blue, I couldn't believe it turned that color into a beautiful mauve. And then when I put it in regular interference, it was a completely different color. Oh, and by the way, the last resin thing that we did, this was the same amount of purely pigments in all 4 of these, but because they had different mica in them, turn this around so you can actually see this. You can see the one with the green. You can see the one with the blue. You can see the one with the blue, but I toned it down with more phthalo blue red shade to make it deep. And this is just that vibrant aqua and clear. It's transparent enough actually to work with translucent projects. So like I said, I would start at the beginning. I'm not trying to get people to go back and watch all my videos, but as I keep progressing, some stuff I might repeat, other stuff, I'm going to hope that you've had a chance to watch some of the other videos because we'll be progressing on and learning terminology. I always hesitate because they're so beautiful like that. Well, thank you, but okay, here's a fun fact. Yellow, red, and blue. We've all heard that as your primary colors. Did you know that there's a computer out there that can make 2.1 million That's with an M, million colors out of yellow, red, and blue. Imagine what you can do by working with the 5 interferences and sparkles and diamonds and bend the light even more, create even more color combinations. That's how I ended up with 314 primary elements, which is nuts. And by the way, here in this next week or so, we're going to start reducing that line. It used to be we only sold 150. You should write a color recipe book. Yeah, or teach a color class. You're right. What would you start with? Wow. Of course, it's going to sound like I'm only promoting my company. The 5 interferences, and they're the finer particulates, will be a good beginning. But when we showed in the video that if you take, like, say, an interference violet and pair it with a diamond red, you get the smaller particulates creates the strongest shift, you know, where in most coverage where you might see a bend back and forth. But by adding a mid-sized particulate, a little bit larger, or the diamond, you get that sparkle between like a diamond red and an interference violet, or a diamond gold and an interference red. Case in point, when I made these two, you know, I thought, oh, I think I'll try to make it with gold. It turned out completely different. So, yeah, a color mixing book would be a lot of work right now because I'm trying to keep the company afloat. It's been a real rough year for everybody with the economy, and we're trying to keep our doors open. Well, thank you, Audra. You know, I wrote a book years ago called The Colors of Radiance, and I had to buy a copy of it recently. It cost me $50, and it was just a little self-printed book that we sold, and it was all about color. But I am thinking of recording everything that was in there, you know, with my words, and doing some kind of online class that has the support with it. Yeah, there's old videos, but the ones we've done recently really, I found it on Etsy, but it cost me $50, Pam, and there was only one copy called The Colors of Radiance. I wrote it years and years ago. It was only almost 15, 16 years ago. No, and they can't buy it anywhere. I happened to find it on Etsy. So my point is, I think what I'm going to do is record a voiceover of all the words in it, right? And then try to give you guys supplementals in video of what I was talking about. It's mostly talks about the relationships in color, how they're all related. And they are. All these colors start with yellow, red, and blue. They are all related. And if you put them in order of their relationship, I used to do the trade shows. I'd sit down with watercolors, 12 different watercolors, and I'd start at a bright yellow and never clean my brush in between as I was going right down the line, painting the colors right next to each other in the color wheel, right? And by the time I got to yellow again, I could put yellow on my brush and not dirty up the pot because you're doing them in the order that they're related. I know that's a little bit too much here on a Saturday as we're getting ready for Christmas. Jasmine's putting her little foot on my shoulder, so she's trying to tell me that we're at 58 minutes. So I'm going to wish you guys, yeah, it would be amazing just to give you the supplemental along, because the words are there. I can record what I had to say, but you need to actually see. This little piece is dry. Now, before we get off, let's see how our first piece dried. Is it dry enough yet to show some sparkle? Yeah. Let's get this pointed down just a little bit. Jessamite. Yeah, there's already, now the Jessamite, I recommend using the Purely Pigments. That's the one that's 100% color. The metallics you're going to want to put on the outside of the Jessamite. Once it's dry, paint it like I did this. But to actually tint the Jessamite, you're going to want the pure 100% version. They're up on the website. And that's, I know there's already somebody doing Jessamite with these. Yeah, they're drying pretty nicely. You're starting to get a glow on all of these. right? But that burgundy turned really dark, didn't it? And I am going to tone this up. This will be a lot redder by the time you guys get it in the jar, but I didn't want to take away that sparkle. There was something we did in the resin with the hollyberry, and I was trying to duplicate that. Listen, everybody, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. See you Tuesday. We'll be doing resin on Tuesday. The Purely Pigments regular set is 20 bucks off with that code celebrate 23. Okay. There's the special deal on these, the Purity event price plus a $25 gift to go along with it. We wish you a Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for saying Merry Christmas, everybody. I really appreciate you. Be close to your, even if you've got a loved one you haven't talked to for a really long time, pick up the phone, tell them you love them. Life's too short. And next time, let's have another color play. See you guys on Tuesday. Bye, guys.